Hey, Sunil, Nick and Raphael.
Hey, hi, Shinya.
Hi.
Hi, Rafale.
Sorry, I sent out the reminder a little late.
Hello.
You're able to hear me?
Hello?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
hear
we can
me?
hear.
I can
Yep.
hear you, yes.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, from my team, I think Sushant and Amit also.
Let's just wait for a couple minutes. Normally we wait until like five minutes past for more
Sure,
people to
sure.
join. Yeah. Okay, I think we can get started. Sunil, do you have some slides to share?
Yes, Shin. Yeah, I have some slides, and Sushant
Can you
also will share the
also,
demo.
yeah, if you can also provide a link to that slides, we can add it to the agenda doc for people
Yeah,
to
I
take.
will. I think that a share I need to set it. So I will,
Okay,
after the
you
meeting,
can do that
I will.
later. Yeah, can do that later. That's fine.
Yeah. So can I share the screen?
I think you should be able to. I do not think I need to give you permission
Yes,
to
yes, yes. Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see my desktop, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, first of all, thanks Shing and others for this opportunity to share this project. So this Soda Kahu project is from Soda Foundation. Soda Foundation is like CNCF. We are a sub project in Linux Foundation. So under Soda Foundation, we have multiple data management projects. Soda Kahu is one of the projects under Soda Foundation. So myself, Sanil, I'm part of the TOC and TOC co-chair for Soda Foundation. And I'm also part of a startup, CEO for Case Labs Private Limited. With me, Sushant is there. So we will give an introduction about this project. And so the premise in which we are discussing this project is that from the beginning of this project, we have been watching out about the tag activities on the white papers about data protection and things like that. So we wanted to make this project Kubernetes native. And it's not from any organization, it's neutral, and we have multiple maintainers from different organizations for this project. And so we were thinking that we should have tighter collaboration, and we are also planning certain features on replication and failover. So we thought we will have more discussions and see how we can take it forward. And also we are also open, I have discussed in the board that we are also open to consider this project can be a sandbox project and things like that. So based on your review, inputs and suggestions, probably we can take the next steps. I mean, that's a context in which we would like to share this project.
Sure, that's great. I think I do have a question. Maybe that's something I actually need to ask CNCF TOC, because this project is already part of Linux. So I normally when you have a project donated, right, you donate the whole thing, but it's already part of Linux Foundation. So I'm not sure what that means for this also to be a sandbox project in CNCF. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's a
Yes.
So I will bring this up.
Yeah, I know that
next time. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we can actually discuss.
But definitely collaboration, of course, that those are great, right? I just this part I'm not quite sure. I think this is something we need to figure out later. Yeah, we probably can't
right
resolve today. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Okay. So, like I mentioned, we have multiple projects under Soda Foundation in different levels. So all these projects are data management projects. Primarily, we have two types of projects. One is we call it as framework project, which is maintained by Soda Foundation. And then we have Echo project. Echo projects are projects which are from the partner organizations. This is primarily on the collaborative solution kind of thing. There is no, just like in CNCF, we don't have that sandbox incubation and graduation kind of levels. This is Echo project. It's managed by the partners, but they come and join for the end-to-end solution so that we don't need to reinvent the same thing. I mean, that's the idea. So these are some of the main.
One interesting observation. I do see KubeEdge. Okay, so what is this? The KubeEdge, I believe it's not really directly under Soda, right? The code is a code directly under the Soda org.
No. Actually, the Echo project. See, all these are Echo project.
Okay.
It's an Echo project. So Echo
Soda
project.
frame. Oh, okay. Okay. Let me take a look at the color. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Color coded or Echo project? Basically, it's like okay, so it's all related, but it's not really. The code base is not under Soda.
Yeah, it's not under the admin and the licensing, or these things are. It is not under Soda Foundation. It's with the partner. It can be CNCF. It can be some organization project, but they join as an Echo project to collaboratively build the solution.
But the first two color code, that will be like under Soda, right? Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Right. Okay, these are some of the important projects of the framework part of it. So Terra is an SDS controller. Delphin is a storage monitoring, heterogeneous storage monitoring. In fact, in subsequent time, probably we will discuss about Delphin also, because we are planning to bring Delphin for the Kubernetes native storage monitoring also. So we will discuss maybe sometime later. And Strato is a multi-cloud data manager, and Kahoo today we will be discussing.
Okay.
Okay, I think this we will skip. I think this is very similar to what we have it in the white paper. So, okay, so I think the details and the demo Sushant will take. I think he prepared for it. So before we get into that details, primarily this is completely Kubernetes native backup and restore, and replication and failover we are planning right now. And then we also have certain very specific architecture tenets like Kubernetes native, and then some storage provider network so that the storage can be plugged in, and so on and so forth. So probably Sushant will discuss about it. And the deployment part, currently we have Huawei, it is integrated, and Vodafone, we are Vodafone, NTT, and Wind River, we are discussing on the engagements. Out of that, Vodafone is very active. So we are discussing we are doing a lab testing with them for Kahoot. And then some of the integrations we have done: CSI, Linstore, OpenEBS, these things. Restic is getting integrated, and the Ceph is also getting integrated as a backend. So this is status. And on the operations side, we have maintainers from different
So
organizations.
for OpenEBS, which I think they have multiple, what do they call?
Sorry?
For OpenEBS, which I think they have like multiple drivers, or what do you call that?
It's a CAS, the CAS part of OpenEBS.
Okay.
And
like for example, they have the Maya store.
Yep.
I think there's some C store.
The
this
C
is on the
store. Yep. And there's also the local PV functions as well.
Right. So I was not clear, like which part is involved in here.
It's a
Actually,
storage
they
backend.
have
Yes.
actually they have a open source version that is the Piraeus operator that is based on the Linstore. So now we have tested before going to actual test with the hardware. We actually tested with their open source version on without the need of hardware. So
Sorry, you're talking about Linstore. I'm questioning is about OpenEBS.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, I mistook it.
Right, because that's my question. But of course,
ZFS,
I need to
actually, they
chime
have a
in.
ZFS.
I was because I know there are like multiple, like there was Maya store and there's a C store, and there's multiple things there. I was just wondering which part is part of this.
Yeah, OpenEBS, that storage backend part, I think in the subsequent slide we have one diagram.
Okay, maybe we can look at that one. Yeah.
Yes.
I think
I think we had some discussions with Nick sometime back about OpenEBS collaboration, right? Nick, you remember?
Yep, I remember we talked. I can't remember the detail, to be honest. It feels like a long time ago.
Yeah,
but if you're talking to ZFS, then that's C-Store.
Sorry,
I thought you were talking to the ZFS driver, in which case it will be C-Store. OpenEBS C-Store.
ZFS.
Okay.
If they have a detailed diagram, we can look at that later and see
That's
which one it is. Yeah.
Okay. And so we have the community discussions, in the sense we actually publish, especially for the SODA part, because all these projects are under SODA. So we have a roadmap published publicly, where our cadence of release is around every 6 months. So the next release will be in December, January timeframe. So already the roadmap is published in our GitHub. And we have the community meeting every 2 weeks, where we discuss, in the community meeting, we discuss about technical and also the ecosystem aspects. And then we also have a design meeting, only discuss about the technical part. So this we do every 2 weeks. So alternate Tuesday, we have the design meeting. Alternate Friday, we have the community meeting for SODA. So which touched upon all the projects in general. And then we have Slack with separate channels for each projects where we discuss, and all the designs, everything is outside. All discussions are public. Okay, so in this context, I will, Sushant, you will continue from here. Hello, Sushant?
Looks like he has some problem. It says coming
okay.
into audio.
Sushant, you are able to hear
Able
me?
to hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, able to hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear
Oh,
you.
okay, 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 okay.
So you will share, or you want me to continue sharing?
I will share.
Okay.
Allow me to share. You can
Yeah,
stop and
you can directly share.
okay, okay. Just give me a minute. Hello?
Yes, Sushant. Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
Are you going to share anything? I'm not seeing anything on the screen.
I think he's not started sharing. Sushant, you can share.
Actually, I'm just switching the network. I'm feeling like something wrong with this network. Just give me a minute. I'm in mobile, so I'm just sharing my laptop.
Okay.
1 minute. Okay. So I think I'm good to share. Able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we were at this slide, I think. Okay, let me continue from here. Oh, sorry, I clicked beginning. Okay, so this is the architectural view of
Sushant,
Hello?
can you duplicate the display so
Yes,
that
yes. Okay, okay.
on the top display settings.
Yeah, okay, okay. Fine. Oh, 1 minute. Should be good now.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
good.
now?
Good to go.
Okay,
Good to
okay.
go. Yeah. Good.
Okay. So this is the architectural view of Kahu. So as Sanil mentioned, this is for a backup and restore solution. So we have core services which take care of backup and restore features, where the core life cycle of backup and restore is positioned, and we have a piece called a provider framework, which mainly help us to integrate with the different kind of drivers, what we call and we are following very much like a CSI way of registration and bringing in the drivers. So I will talk about those things in detail in next slides. So with respect to backup repositories, so we can configure different type of repositories for metadata store or volume backup, or going forward for kind of more kind of use cases. So we can configure different repositories, and backup drivers are pluggable. So we will see how it is catered in our architecture when we go to the detailed features of Kahu. So this is the high level diagram of Kahu, with core services and provider framework. So also we are in the process of building a O&M for this. Currently we operate based on the kubectl backup and restore custom resource definitions, and in future we plan to add O&M and portal to cater to the backup restore needs. So what are the key goals of Kahu? So when we started analyzing, like Sanil mentioned, the position of Kahu is in the as one of the data management project in SODA. So we came up based on our discussion with multiple partners about the backup restore needs We try to, list down all the key features which are required for backup and restore. Like some of them are very basic and obvious features, such as we should be able to do a backup and restore of metadata and volumes at different scopes, like cluster, namespace, at application level, and support the volume snapshot for a backup, which can be one of the basic way of providing a backup and restore. And going forward, also keeping in mind about in future how we can support different ways of backup, like full incremental or differential backup. We should have some provisioning, or we should have some thought process on keeping these features in mind. And pre and post hook support and backup across heterogeneous storage providers and across the cluster, single and multiple cluster backup and restore use case scenarios. And we started with the CSI provisioned volumes, with keeping in mind about how we can do non-CSI provisioned volumes also should be, kept in mind. So these are some of the goals, and also about backup provider capability metrics, in the sense like when we integrate or plug in some providers which have multiple capability, like they can do a backup and restore for multiple kind of volumes. So then we also need to have some kind of a matrix with respect to what are the capabilities of each of the driver and how it can be orchestrated from the framework. Then coming to storage provider framework, this is nothing but the way of integrating drivers to our system. So we follow pretty much similar the CSI way of plugging in the drivers, like drivers will come up with their registration mechanisms, their capabilities, and get registered to our system dynamically. So drivers can be added dynamically to a running system, as well as multiple drivers can coexist at a single point of time. They can come and go. So this is the storage provider framework, which is pretty much follow the CSI design. In that sense, it is very much scalable, and also, upgrade, all those things can be easily taken care. And coming to the usability side with respect to automation and orchestration, scheduled backup and backup based on some other events or policies which can be configured by the user, and the backup can be taken care. Kind of automation can be brought in. And also, like in case user is not able to know which provider to select or input, then we can have some mechanism wherein the system can help to find based on some configuration which provider can help to take the backup of which kind of applications. So these are some of the goals we had kept, and I will also show like some of the things which we already have in the feature our release, and the remaining things to be part of our next releases. Can I move forward?
Yeah, do you have a roadmap, like what are planning for first release or future release?
Yeah, high level roadmap I have. I think after end of slides, I will show that we have updated as the overall SODA roadmap. And then we have the detailed sheet about how, kind of a task level breakups. So which I will show at the end of the slides. And some of the key decisions which we had taken while taking these approaches or design. One is we wanted to be Kubernetes native and pluggable storage provider framework, and common module for CSI support, so that all the CSI based driver can be supported out of the box. And backups, treat the backup as a jobs instead of long running process. So this actually over a course of time, we just refined it, and we started working on converting a long running process to jobs. So our initial version is with the long running, and currently we are halfway through with the job based backup. And custom data movers, like we can treat them as just like any other backup provider. So it can be chained, like take a backup, then move the data. So multiple providers can coexist and provide based on their capability. And the O&M, which is, from the usability perspective, there should be good provisioning about policy and configuration based approaches. So currently, our version already has metadata backup for metadata backup and restore for the at different granular levels, and support for pre and post hook, and also CSI volume based backup. So we have a CSI provisioner, and as well as Sanil mentioned, so some of the some other flavors like ZFS, OpenEBS ZFS, and LinStore, and I will show the provider map wherein we'll come to know what and all things are already part of the release. And storage provider framework, we have the framework in place which can cater to two main requirements, like any storage can be plugged in at runtime, and also multiple storage providers can coexist. And currently for the metadata part, we started with the NFS provider, which is now it's a default provider for our metadata backup, and the CSI snapshot for the CSI provisioned volumes. So we have kind of yeah.
Where do you store your data?
So that's what, like NFS provider, I think this slide will help. So metadata and volume. So for the applications, we can select a location to save the metadata. So wherein we can save the metadata at NFS location. So we can create an NFS volume and make it as a location, backup location. So where we save the configuration data. And volume is currently snapshot based. The first part is what I mentioned is a CSI snapshot. It's a snapshot at the storage side. And
So it's basically
now
it's a local snapshot. It's not really
yes,
in
so
any
that's
backup
why,
location
yeah,
yet.
right. Yeah, right. So rightly, so also since it is a what is that CSI based volume, so we also give a flexibility for the custom driver. For example, you for the driver can take a decision about what kind of a backup it has to follow. Maybe it's just a snapshot like a CSI, or maybe something added at the driver side. Also, some after post snapshot, some other external storage it has to be pushed, or all those flexibility driver can take care of that. So currently some of the user trials are happening, like as a part of backup call. So the CSI snapshot will be taken, and also they take some additional steps to take care of that data, like they can keep at their replicated location or local and configure these kind of things, and provide kind of reliability for their snapshots. So from our side, right now it's a local snapshot CSI based, and that's the reason we also started integrating Restic now, so that it can work as a data mover to to a location wherein it can be restored. So that's the reason Restic, which is kind of a default data mover, wherein any other custom data mover also can be added. So we are working on Restic. And also at the metadata side, we are also working on S3. So this is more or less, it is in the implementation is almost closing. So in the next release, this will be part of it. And
So
next was, yeah.
What is the this is the OpenEBS integration you're talking about?
See, in the volume
OpenEBS.
side, yeah, in the
ZFS.
volume side, we have OpenEBS ZFS, means the volumes provisioned by OpenEBS ZFS. So we have written a driver wherein we can trigger the snapshotting at OpenEBS side, and restore back from those snapshot volumes. So this is this OpenEBS ZFS. We have written a different driver, which is not CSI snapshotter, because the way it maintains some of the information related to snapshot identifiers, all these are different. That is the reason we have written a separate OpenEBS ZFS driver, so that the handles identifications can be correlated, and we can do a snapshotting, then we can create a volume out of that snapshot. So this is driver helps to do those two parts, like taking a snapshot, and when you are provided with the snapshot details, it can create a volume and perform the restore.
So Nick, you say this will be the C store? It's maybe ZFS?
Yes, ZFS. Yes, we.
Because there's two ways in which OpenEBS can be talking to ZFS. One is CStore, which is a modified version of ZFS, And the other one is ZFS local PV.
We use local PV. We use
Okay.
ZFS local PV. So
Okay.
yes. So we use OpenEBS local PV, the open source version, and we have written a provider just to make use of their snapshotting and restoring functionality. So that will be triggered through our provider.
Got it.
Right.
Okay. Thanks.
And things in progress are cloud provider drivers. Like currently, it is all I mean the on-premise and the like any either it's a CSI based or the private providers, and cloud provider and third-party data movers, like any integration part that is in pipeline, so that we can cater to different use cases like on-premise, cloud, and multi-vendor use cases.
Yes, Prathil has one question. I think he raised his hands.
Hello, someone?
Yeah, Prathil, you're on mute. You raise your hand. You have any questions?
Yeah, I was waiting for some for having a turn.
Yeah, please.
I was
go ahead.
wondering, what is the metadata backup? When you say metadata backup, what are you referring to? there?
Metadata backup is like all the configurations, like everything except the volume, which is actually I mean supported by other external parties. So the configuration like secret or
Kubernetes
service
metadata.
account,
Kubernetes
any Kubernetes configurations which are part of the application. For the application,
Okay.
all the
So
configurations. Yes.
anything that is in a namespace or things like that.
Yes.
So
For
basically-
example, you might have many configuration, but not actually using a persistent volume, but still you have a lot of configuration to run your application, right? So in that case, you just need a metadata backup. You actually you are not bothered about backing up a persistent volume, but just your configuration, a secret, and all other service accounts, service related information you want to back up and bring it back.
Is this a use case that you guys see a lot?
Which one?
Correct.
Having to backup metadata.
No, there are some cases where volume is not used, but if you go predominantly, the use case will be metadata and application involving both metadata and volume, not just the metadata. Metadata is, I mean, if you plot a use case thing, it will have a very less use case with just metadata. But some trial or some, duplication of test environments, all these kind of places, if you want to localize some issue or based on some application states. So those are some of the use cases which are not predominantly product side use cases.
Okay, just sharing my experience, I don't see that use case anymore. Like there was a time, but now with GitOps, we don't need to duplicate the metadata or backup the metadata. If we lose the metadata is in Git, we can always have an operator that recreates it. So we don't back up. So you really need to back up the volumes for sure, but the configurations that, at least I don't see that happening anymore. Makes sense?
Actually, that is.
You say,
the reason.
Rafael, you are talking about, okay, I don't just understand what
Go
Rafael
ahead.
is saying. So you're talking about the GitOps use case in that workflow, they don't really back up anything because those are always available
Retrievable
on the Git. Is that what you mean?
In Git, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
But probably that's not all the case, right? So yeah,
Yes.
maybe for the GitOps case, there are other
deployments
there are other deployments that are not really tightly integrated with it.
Right. No, I was just saying, I used to
That's
start to see that
that's what
use
you are
case.
saying. But what you are
Yeah.
seeing with your customers, you see they have that very tight integration. Okay.
Yeah, as customers, mature
and all their
adopt
data is
GitOps.
together. I mean, from one location, you can get back your entire application back. I mean, from single source.
Right. There's still need for a volume backup. That's very important.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Got your meaning.
So wherever GitOps
But Rafael, your Git that changes, right? So how do you correlate your you know, your Git keep changing all the
make use
time.
of
How do you correlate
versioning
that
or
with the?
something? Yeah, even I
Sorry,
had similar
I'm
question like
asking
Xin
Rafael a
Yang.
question.
Yeah.
Can
I had
can
a
you hear
similar
me?
question like you. Yeah,
Okay, I
about
was just asking
versioning or
Rafael because I'm definitely interested in, you know, what he has seen. So your Git keep changing, right? So, you know, different versions. How do you correlate that with the data? I guess that was the part of not clear. If you just rely on, if they're kind of separate, you have your Git there and then you have volumes, but you need to have some central place to correlate your Git version and your data. I mean, that's
What do you mean by data? The volume?
Oh, like you said you need backup volumes, right? But how do you know this volume is related to this Git version? Are you saying they're
Why
not?
do I need to know
Not important. Well,
Why do I
your
need to
Git
know the
configuration could
version
change,
of?
right? Your Git could change. So how do you even know?
As soon as Git changes, the changes are reflected in the cluster, right? That's how GitOps works, right? So if
I'm not clear. Like how do you back up the data? Because you're saying data still need to back it up. I mean, like how? I'm not clear on.
So let's say I lose a cluster that I'm managing with GitOps. Let's say I completely lose it. I can bring up another cluster, point it to the same Git, and everything will be recreated, except the volumes will be empty.
But the volumes, how do you know which is the one that is corresponding to your cluster? That would be the right one. Or you're saying that doesn't matter, it will always fit.
But that's where the backup operator has to come in and help me, give me a way to say,
mapping.
You know, I made the backup of that volume. Now I want to restore it in this new
cluster.
cluster.
I think they need to know what is the YAML at least, right? So they need to know the PVC YAML at least to know which the correlation.
Yeah.
At least
just the PVC name essentially, or give me a way to give it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
some mapping will be needed, definitely.
And it will be something similar to in this case also, because in our case, the metadata is separate and volume is separate. So there is a correlation between this workload. So I think maybe the similar thing may be in the case of GitOps as well.
And it is another case can be like if you are changing your configuration, like your secret or other informations during the run of the cluster, and you are taking periodic backups, like every day you are taking backups. So your configuration data also may be different across the days because you would have done some changes to your configuration, service, or other aspects. So these two things binding together at any point of time will really help to consistently restore that application back. I mean, we at any point we are very clear, like this backup has this set of config and this set of volume, even though there are other places to get that config.
Okay, let's continue. I don't want to go to down this rabbit hole of GitHub, but let's
Got it. And like Sanil mentioned, we are into some of the user integration, mainly to know some of the key use cases that are priority to add to Kaho. So one of the activity we are doing currently is to run this on a OpenShift cluster and catering to the backup restore need of application running on the cluster. So because ours is a CRD based and controller based, so not really do not face any issues even though it's a managed Kubernetes. So this is one of the use case which we are trying, and similarly we are trying like other users in the Soda community. So one by one we try to cater to some different kind of use cases, different environments, to make sure like it can cater to all kind of application backup and restore.
This one shows left hand is LoRa. Now you're saying you're transforming that to use.
So one of the operators.
Oh, how different is that?
Yeah. So what we are doing is just a minute. Let me move this back. Okay, so what we want to show is any backup restore solution if we in a Kubernetes native use case. So Kahoot can pitch in and it can help to do a backup and restore without actually needing any additional changes, because it is mainly CRD and operator based and a custom, dynamically pluggable providers. So as long as you are able to install that and run it, so you are okay to go ahead with your, the Kahoot way of backup and restore.
Well, you're basically, you can just kind of replace Vollara with
Yes,
Kahoot
yes,
and it works
yeah,
similarly. That's what you mean.
yes, similarly. So that's the point.
And also, we are also when we integrated into OpenShift, OpenShift has got one storage backup interface on top. And that is also based on
Is
Solaris.
this Sanil? Somehow you seems to be very far away from the
Yeah, Sanil.
mic.
Oh, you're
Away
not
from
able to
mic.
hear?
It's like we can hear you, but it's like you're
Talking from
from
where?
a
Talking from
distance.
far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it any better?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Slightly.
Slightly.
Okay, and yeah, maybe my microphone has some issues. I was just mentioning that, see here, if you see with respect to OpenShift, we have tested Kahoot deployed at Kubernetes level. Now, if you see OpenShift, it also has a layer where you have that OSC and the storage interface, the backup interfaces. That is also kind of an operator. So as a next step, we are also seeing that how we can seamlessly integrate or either it should be parallel or it should be integrated so that the management plane doesn't have any hassle to manage. So we are taking that step in our lab test with the client.
And also in this testing, the source cluster and target cluster, do they have the same version or different versions?
Sorry.
You have a Kubernetes cluster, source cluster and target cluster. Do they have same version or different version? Kubernetes version.
Talking about the left hand side and right hand side, it's the same version.
Yeah, it's
Same
the same
version.
version. A Kubernetes
Okay.
version you are asking, right?
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, I'm asking Kubernetes version, or maybe this OpenShift version is the same. I think
Yes,
they have
same version.
Yeah.
Actually,
Same
this
version.
is
Okay.
a basic case, but we just want to make sure like we have that cross version and other things going forward. This is just a kind of to make sure like the functionality is fine and we don't need to do any changes as to run on these specific managed clusters. So this is just a
Right. Well,
verification
version, if you have different version, there is some complexity. Handled. Yeah. Like you go up, you go lower. Yeah, it's more complicated. It's
API
actually
changes
complicated.
and others.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. And yeah, next part I have one short demo. I just want to present that use case. So is it visible?
Yeah.
I am playing a video. So this is the deployment in a Kubernetes cluster. So what we have done is we have deployed Kahoot in a Kahoot namespace with NFS provider and ZFS, OpenEBS ZFS, because here the volumes are provided with OpenEBS ZFS. So actually we have a since we use the NFS, so we have an external server NFS running. So this NFS server is a container based for the local deployment. It can be as well as any other external NFS server which can be connected with the NFS provider. Using NFS protocol, they can communicate. So NFS provider and the ZFS, these are the providers in this setup, and Kahoot service is the core service for which takes care of a backup and restore. So we use a similar mechanism CSI sidecar. So when I tell a NFS provider, actually it has a NFS related provider and also a Kahoot's service, that is a metadata service. And whenever I tell any volume provider, it has a Kahoot's volume service and the respective provider. So they work as a sidecar and help in that dynamic and pluggable way of deployment. So here this is the case, and what we do is we try to we ran an application which uses which has both metadata and volume, basically a WordPress application. So we deployed it on one of the, we deployed it on this cluster. So just this is the WordPress. So it has a front end, and so we exposed it to a node port so that we can create some blogs on that WordPress. So okay, so this is the application that is exposed through node port. So basically we create a couple of blogs to show the data that this is what. So for example, we have my first blog 2, and these are the content of this volume, which is at the back end. And then what we do is we take the backup. So this is our one syntax of backup, wherein we give which namespace to include. In this case, the WordPress is running in a default. So we have mentioned default as, to include the default namespace for the backup, and also specified metadata location. So we created a backup location called NFS, so which helps us to get connected to the repository. So with this, we carry out a backup. And once we create a backup, so now backup is going on. So it has a different stage like volume, metadata, and finally it will end the backup phase. So once that backup phase is over, it shows it is completed. So after this is done, what we are going to do is we are going to bring down this application just to make sure like it actually restores from what is saved. We are creating one more block which is created after the backup. So expectation is that when we restore, everything comes except this the block which is created after taking the backup. So just clearing and bringing down this application. So now if you try to application is gone, and if you try to access this, it is not accessible. So now we do the restore part. So what we do in restore is we specify which backup to take, and also there are some property like whether you need to preserve node ports which you have backed up, so that your application access part is not changed. So you also have an option to restore your application without preserving your node port, in which case the Kubernetes will allocate a random node port for you once again. So in this case, just for the smooth access, we have provided that option. Kahoo supports the option about preserving some access things like node port, cluster IPs, kind of things, so that user access is seamless. So we create a restore. So restore is in progress now. And once this restore is back, we can see like services is created back, and we are able to see the blog back, blog 1 and blog 2, and blog which we created after backup is not part of it because it is taken after the volume backup is done. So this is a short demo about a simple use case of WordPress and bringing down the application and restoring it from the backup point. So
I have a question. What is your API support policy? I see your API is already on beta 1.
what is that? Can you come
What
again?
is your API support policy? I just see that your API is already at V1 beta 1. Your API is already beta. I was just wondering, what is your API support policy?
I think yeah, hi guys. So this is the same as what Kubernetes supports. We've tried to follow the similar API policy which we have in Kubernetes. Like first we do alpha, beta, and then we go for the graduation. So currently it is in beta phase.
Right, because I was
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm very sorry. Like I missed your question. I could not. Get.
okay. No
Okay,
problem.
okay.
I was just
Yes.
wondering because
Thanks, Amit.
I see the And how often do you, I was just looking at your release, how often do you release? It's like half a year, is that right?
We used to do 3 months earlier. So now,
Now it's 6 months.
6 months, and on a need
It's
basis.
only 6 months, but we also give some interim release if there are some trials happening or integration happening, that kind of releases. That is on demand, but otherwise,
yeah,
the normal cadence is 6 months.
Yeah, I was just checking your release notes. I didn't see anything of this API move to beta.
Yeah, it's.
I was just wondering because normally I see those APIs stayed in alpha for quite a long time before they move to beta. So I'm surprised that I see your release is 1.1 and then this is a beta. So that's fine. I was just wondering.
No, Shing, the one point is that we actually make a release from Soda, and every project follow a different version number. So every project has a release. Soda has a release. So if you see the project follows its independent releases and version numbers. So that's how it is. So if you see the version number will be different.
Okay. All right.
And also, Sunny, one more point we want to mention is about the community and other things. Now we plan to have a dedicated community meeting for this project also. Already we are having it as part of all the Soda projects we discuss based on the topic. But since we have seen some more interest in our open source events and also, we plan to have a dedicated community meeting for the project, just like any other project apart from Soda. So this is another update I just wanted to add on, Sunny.
We can open Soda Foundation, and we have the API there, right?
1 minute.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
in your approach, which persona creates the backup and restore manifests?
Correct. Right now it is Kube. Way is kubectl, and the admin creates based on the kubectl command. So when we bring O&M, it will be kind of a scheduled. We create a schedule, the scheduled objects, and through scheduled objects, the backup can be controlled, like whether it should happen automatically or timely basis. Based on that, it can become controlled once we integrate O&M. So right now it is from kubectl operator. We create, the backup restore objects.
Right. Yeah, that was going to be the periodic.
Go ahead, please.
The periodic backup, that was going to be my second question, but just to make sure. So in your approach, when you issued that command, kubectl backup and kubectl restore, you were impersonating the cluster administrator, not the tenant. Like if I have multiple tenants in a cluster, let's say they are the developers that are running this application, they cannot do the backup and restores. Or can they? That was my question.
Yeah, actually, once you have the tenancy in place, that should be possible. I think that should not, there should not be any issue with that. I think. Because right now we are at the cluster level. Now, once you have and then you have the tenancy, I think it should not be a problem.
Yes, tenancy is I think is your point, right? Different people want to control this backup and do their own way and frequency.
Right. I've been sitting in many conversations where the discussion was who owns the backup, who is responsible for that. Is it the platform team or is the application team? I wanted to understand if you guys had an opinion or an approach, or if your operator is fully agnostic to that problem. And when I set it up, I decide if I give access to it to the developers or if I give access to it, or I keep access to myself, and I am obviously the platform administrator.
Okay, so related to ownership, yeah, it's an interesting question because whether the application or the backup team, I think it all depends on how you deploy, how you organize the teams and
Right.
But
Okay.
on the implementation side, with respect to the backup operator or below, it doesn't matter. So it depends on how, I mean, who you want whom to, I mean, take the backup on. That's it.
Right. Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Yes, Anil, you wanted to come to docs?
Yeah, we have so these are some of the, I mean, Kabo documentation. It's under docs.foundation.io. Like all the projects are there. You
Can you
can
drop
also,
this doc link in the chat or somewhere?
yes.
Yes, sure, sure.
Thanks.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so like Sanil mentioned, now our next thing is about knowing more use cases and collaboration. Even we have been seeing the work group upgrades and all those things wherein the job-based data mover concepts, all this were discussed, even though we could not attend all of those things, but we used to follow some of the discussions and all there. So probably we need to go through one more round to know exactly all the enhancement developments, so that it will help us to keep the things up to date, aligned on what all people are thinking on this backup restore problems.
So then we can show our roadmap and the task identified for the next release. Soda roadmap we can show high level, and then
Yeah, sure.
GitHub Soda Foundation
Yeah, I'll say.
/ Soda. It's in Soda report.
Right.
There's a file roadmap below.
Yeah, 1 minute. I'll come there.
Okay, so it's part of this.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a high level. When we plan the release, what we do is that whatever framework project, not the Echo project, but the framework project, we try to plan with respect to Soda release and try to align as much as possible. That's how it is. So here you can see the first point is bulletin is for Kaho. The second is
Okay.
for
Yeah, if you can also put this link in the chat.
Sure.
And also
Sure.
we only have 1 minute. I do have the drop because I have I need to join another meeting, right? We are already
Yeah, actually we are done with this one.
Okay.
I think I will
Okay.
send this.
We can also share the task plan for the next one, and then we can further discuss how we can collaborate.
Yes, how we can
okay.
set next set of things. Sure.
Yeah, sure. You also feel free to come in the next meeting, or if you want to talk about some follow-ups, if you guys want to, we can do that too, or we can also discuss offline.
Yes.
For email, it's all fine. Yeah,
sure.
But I do have an action item. I will ask CNCF just to see, in this
the governance
case,
part. Yeah.
if you can apply for Sandbox. That's one question, because this is a little different from those other projects.
True.
Okay.
It's already part of Linux.
Yeah. So, but definitely happy to collaborate. Yeah. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thanks, guys,
Great
for your time.
Yeah. I think we are on top of the hour. I think that.
Yeah.
So that is for today. Yeah. Again, please share the slides.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks all for attending.
Thank you.
Spending your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you everyone.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.